You might believe that chaos and stress are just part of being a successful band leader, but you don't have to accept that. You can run your band like a real stress-free business. How do I know? Because as a band leader who's built a live music business that now does over 300 gigs a year, I had to find a better way. And you can benefit from that experience because I turned that better way into a system that you can use. And in this video, you'll learn the exact exercise that starts it all, the Gig Lifecycle Audit, so that you can start winning back your time and actually making a living instead of drowning in chaos. All right, but before we dive in, I need you to grasp this one single idea. This is the most important insight of the entire video. You know that feeling of administrative chaos you live with? It's not a personality flaw, and it's not because you're a disorganized creative, and it's absolutely not some unavoidable price you have to pay just for being a band leader. Your chaos is simply a system, a broken one, that you haven't been able to see clearly. So by the end of this video, that fog of I'm just busy all the time will be replaced by a sharp clarity of, oh, that's where my time is going. You'll see the monster in the closet, but today we're going to turn the lights on. And hey, if getting control of your band business is a priority for you, I send out a free weekly email with actionable advice just like this to help you grow. The link to sign up for that is right at the top of the description below. Okay, so let's break down the gig life cycle. Every single gig you play, whether it's a 30-minute coffee shop set or a 4-hour wedding gig, goes through 3 distinct phases. So we're going to map them all out right now. First is the booking phase. This is everything that happens from the moment the potential client first contacts you, that first "Are you available?" DM, all the way up to the moment they sign the contract and actually pay the deposit. So this is your first impression, and it's where you either win or lose the gig. Next, you have the planning phase. So this is the messy middle. It starts the second the contract is signed and ends when your drummer counts in the first song, so when you're actually on stage. So this phase includes everything from scheduling your musicians, creating and sharing set lists, coordinating logistics with the client, sending reminders, all that sort of pre-gig prep work that feels like it never ends. And finally, the closing phase. This kicks in the second you step off stage. It covers everything from packing up your gear, sending the final invoice, collecting the final payment, sending a thank you note, and this is a big one, asking for a review or testimonial. This is the phase most bands completely ignore, and they leave so much money and future opportunity on the table because of it. So booking, planning, and closing, that's the entire gig life cycle. Okay, so now let's map your business. I want you to list every single tiny task you do in each of those 3 phases. I know, big job, right? And I know what you might be thinking, where do I even start, right? It can feel overwhelming to try to remember everything. So to make things way easier, I created a free PDF for you, my 80-point gig task template. It's a massive list of common tasks that I've compiled over 15 years of running my own band, and it'll really help you remember all those little 5-minute things that secretly eat up your day. So there's a link to that in the description below. So go grab that. Then under each of these 3 columns, I want you to list every single tiny task and touch point that happens in your current process. So don't filter, don't judge, just write it down, right? And start with booking. So for example, how does that lead come in, right? Is it an email? Is it a web form? And what's the next step after that? Do you reply manually? How do you create a quote? Are you opening a Word doc and typing it from scratch? How do you make the contract? Is that another Word doc? How many follow-up emails does it take to get a signature, okay? So be honest with this stuff and take your time with it. Now let's move to planning. Once a gig is booked, how do you confirm your musicians? Is that a group text, an email blast, a post in a Facebook group? How do you build that set list? Is it a shared Spotify playlist, a spreadsheet? How do you communicate the timeline, parking info, and dress code to the band, right? Do you send a final check-in email to the client a week before the event? All that kind of stuff, right? And finally, closing. So how do you send the final invoice, right? Do you have to remind yourself to do it? How do you track that final payment was actually received? And do you send a thank you email? Do you ever ask for a review on Google or The Knot or Wedding Wire? Put that down there as well. So this might feel a little silly, but please trust the process. Take a few minutes and really map out your own unique chaos. We can't fix problems we can't see, and we can't improve your band business if we don't have any clue what it actually looks like. So what I want you to do now is pause this video, go click on the link in the description to download that free gig task template I've got for you, and use it to fill out your gig lifecycle audit. Get everything down on paper, and I'll be here when you get back. All right, you're back. So take a good look at that map you just created. If you're feeling a little shocked or even stressed out looking at the sheer number of steps, that's a good thing, you guys. It means you're seeing the truth for the first time, and that's where the real change begins. So This is your diagnosis. Now let's go find some bottlenecks. All right. A bottleneck is a task that slows you down or causes stress or creates mistakes. So let's look at a few common ones. First up, I want to talk about repetitive emails. Man, I can still feel the stress of, being hunched over my laptop at 11 p.m., exhausted after a long day, trying to craft that perfect response to a wedding inquiry. I'd reread my own email a dozen times, agonizing over the tone. Do I sound too eager, too expansive, too formal? I'd spend 20 to 30 minutes on it, hit send, and then feel this moment of relief only to realize that there were two more just like it waiting for me, right? So my turning point wasn't a single event, but more of a slow dawning horror when I realized that I was essentially a human copy and paste machine, and a very inefficient one at that. So my creative energy, the stuff I needed for my music, was being poured into a task that a robot could do better. So look at your map, be honest. If you're typing the same information more than once at any of these steps, that task isn't just draining your time, it's kind of draining your soul. And that's a prime candidate for a template or a piece of software like Back on Stage, link below. All right, here's another big one, manual quotes and contracts. For years, my contract was a single Microsoft Word doc on my desktop, probably named something stupid like contract, template, master, final, use this one, .docx. You know the drill. For every gig, I would go in there, I'd do a manual find and replace for the client's name and the date and all these other details. I thought I was being so careful, but no matter how many times I'd read over it, there'd almost always be something I'd miss, like forgetting to change the client name or the amount owed or the deposit due date. Embarrassment in moments like those was always instant, and I didn't just look sloppy. I kind of looked like an amateur who couldn't really be trusted with my client's big event, right? So if create quote or send contract on your map is a multi-step process, you've found a system that is actively undermining your professionalism. It's kind of a credibility time bomb waiting to go off. So let's do one more, fragmented communication. So when you're managing a 9-piece band like I am, even if you're managing a smaller band than that, you're wrangling a lot of people. And in the early days, my system was pure chaos. I mean, I'd send out a group text, get a few maybes, follow up with an email, maybe get a yes in a Facebook message from someone else, and then try to hold on to all of that in my head. So picture this. A while back, my band had booked a high-stakes wedding gig, right? Booked months in advance. Back then, every single booking felt like it was our big break, And the bride was absolutely in love with our lead singer's voice. Had to have her, non-negotiable. Then, during some casual chat at another gig, that same singer drops this bomb. Oh yeah, I might be traveling that month. My stomach kind of dropped. I frantically dug through my mess of texts and emails and Facebook messages, only to discover what I'd been dreading. She had, in fact, never actually confirmed. Not once. So for weeks after that, I lived with this constant knot in my stomach, wondering if I'd have to tell the bride that her dream singer wouldn't be there, or scramble to find someone who could even come close to matching her talent. So the lesson here is, if your musician scheduling looks like a spider's web like mine did, of different apps and messages, it's not a question of if you'll have a disaster, but when. You need a single source of truth for your entire team. Now let me show you something that changed everything for me. Back in 2013, I got super nerdy and created what I now call my time truth spreadsheet. It was simple. I tracked every single minute I spent on band admin over an 8-month period. And what I found was shocking. So looking at my spreadsheet here, I have everything organized in clear categories, right? I've got client care, musician coordination, bookkeeping, set lists, marketing. But here's the real eye opener. If I sort by the context column here, or the category column rather, I am now able to see exactly how much time I'm spending in these areas. And so, for example, I was able to go through here, find all my emails, quickly grab the time column here, and see on average how long it was taking me to send an email. And doing this, I discovered that each single email was eating up about 10 minutes of my time. So with most bookings requiring at least 10 to 20 emails, I was spending 2 to 4 hours just on email communication per gig. That's half a workday just writing emails. Now, when I dug deeper and calculated all my tasks per gig, here's what a typical gig actually cost me in time. So communicating with the client was around 120 minutes, preparing contracts and invoices, more like 45 minutes, booking the musicians, another 45 minutes, preparing set lists, another 30 minutes, musician payments and bookkeeping, 45 minutes. Crazy, right? 5 hours per gig. Like, who'd have thought, right? So seeing the numbers like that is one thing, but connecting them to how I actually felt was a real shock. I mean, I can remember so many instances where I'd arrive at one of my band's gigs ready to play, and a bandmate would walk up to me and clap me on the shoulder and say, "Hey man, how was your day?" And I'd just draw a complete blank. Like, my mind was just static. I couldn't actually remember a single meaningful thing I'd done all day because my entire day had been spent reacting to 1,000 tiny disconnected tasks, an email here, a text there, a contract edit. And the joy that I was supposed to feel before performance was just gone, replaced with this flat, empty exhaustion. So that's what this 5 hours of admin per gig was really costing me. It wasn't just my time, it was my peace of mind and my love for the job. And that's when I knew this wasn't sustainable. So there you have it. That's my journey. And if you can relate, now you know why you feel so busy all the time, right? You now have a clear, honest diagnosis of your band business's biggest weaknesses, and you should feel empowered by this. I mean, you can't fix a problem you can't see, but today you actually turned the lights on. But now that you know your chaos is a broken system you can see, you need to make sure that you're taking steps to actually fix it. So make sure you go watch this video next where I go deep into my 4-hour gig week system for automating your admin so that you can get your time back and build a real business fast, which of course will help you win more gigs and make more moolah.